Hey, it's Gail the Gardening Gal, and today our garden tour is going to be kind of different. We had a storm come through, and one night we got 7 inches of rain, and then since then, in the past 9 days or so, we've gotten another 4 or 5 inches of rain. Yeah, wonderful. So as you can imagine, the garden took a big hit. So we'll go through the bad, the sad, and the kind of glad, because you got to find a good side to every story. Let's go ahead and get started. Now we'll start off the garden tour with the place that got hit the least. So this is one of my raised beds, and as you can see, this is a eggplant plant that has gone for the sky, but the eggplant fruits themselves took a huge hit, and I've really had to do away with most of them since then. Right here where you see the purple pole, there was a tomato plant there, and it is now gone. It was just totally broken off. I do have some edamame that are still kind of edamameing, but they need to get picked. They also kind of fell over. Marigold fell over. I had to trim it back hugely, so you can imagine how big this plant was. Let's see, the beans took a huge hit from the Japanese beetles, which were particularly bad this year. We go over here and we see this marigold plant is just kind of fallen over, and I've taken off a lot of branches on this one. Now, the pepper plants are actually doing pretty well, so saving grace, I do have some. And as you can see, it is loaded with peppers. Now these are the Natapinos, and they're doing pretty well. I have some other yellow monster and yellow bell. I've been picking some of those to save them from the bugs. The Rosita Eggplant, doing well. I've actually picked like 4 of them off the plant yesterday, and I will show you a final showing of everything I had to harvest yesterday, because otherwise it wouldn't have lasted. Okay, I swing on over, and here's another eggplant, and this one again is not doing all that well as far as fruits go. The plant itself is fine, the fruits are terrible. As I move down, here's some more pepper plants, and they're actually doing okay. They fell over. I've had to restake. But the basil plant, I'm afraid it's kind of gone over. Have to cut that back or something just so it can go upright again. I did have a tomato plant right here, but it just totally fell over, and I said the heck with it, so I ripped it out. Basil next to it is doing well. There are a couple more tomato plants over here, and they've really gotten hit bad by, blight and everything like that since the rain. But I do have some tomatoes still on it, so I left them as it is, so just to get them to ripen. Same kind of thing with this tomato plant right over here. Not too good. All right, so let's go over to take a look at the alcove area. Well, first thing is my prairie fire plant. I had to get rid of it. I still need to cut it off, but it just totally died. You can see the brown branches on it. Well, that's what the whole plant looked like. Okay, I have my, let me see, these are the trick-to-you peppers, and they fell over. But I have gotten some fruit from them, but when all these things fell over, the sun came out bright the next day, and I got sun scald over a ton of stuff. So that was not happy. Well, at least my fig, this is the Celeste fig, is doing well, so I'm happy about that. And a lot of my, flowers from this area are doing okay. And this is my first bee balm that has flowered. And I have a lot of the lemon mint that have flowered. The one success in my entire garden has been this black cherry tomato. Yeah. Now that particular top of the cage is about 6.5 feet tall, because I've got 2 cages stacked on top. I have topped this plant several times in the last 2 weeks, You can tell it likes the water. Because I've got it topping again. I can't reach. Next to it is fireworks. That is kind of gone. I've got to take it out. It did have some tomatoes on it, but I think I pretty much got them all off, so yeah. Okay, let's check some of the other parts of the garden. The first of the green stalks took a big hit. I do, I'll say it right. I do still have my pepper plants on there, and they're doing kind of okay, but all the beans, the edamame, the tomatoes, they all had to come out, so that one's not doing too well. There is a bright spot to this, though, that I will explain later. Right next to that is my bean bush, and the problem is this bean wall has leaned over a great deal, and you know, I'm trying to stake it up as much as I can, but yeah, I have a problem. You can't really see it from this side, but it is leaning severely. Next to it, I have another one of my bee balms, and it's doing pretty well. Then we get to the other vertical garden, and it's not doing well. I had to take out a lot of stuff, but yeah, I even have the beans try to get really friendly with the tower. The tomatoes, or excuse me, the strawberries up here don't look all that great, but the strawberries down below, which are a different variety, are going for the moon, and they're just putting out all kinds of runners. So I will be able to go ahead and make more strawberry plants. You can see I've got runners all the way down, so I need to take those off and replant them. On to the cucumbers, and these are my cucumbers. There are no cucumbers. That's right, had to rip them all out. I had to rip them all out because this is what they were kind of looking like. Not quite this bad. I need to rip this one out this week, but yeah, the cukes weren't doing that bad, except for two of them. Let me show you. Now, these were two plants that I planted from seed, and they are doing okay. I planted them like a week or so before the big rain, and they survived and are doing well, so there's that at least. The Kajuri melon plant is kind of on its last legs, more or less. I have gotten a few melons off of it, and the last one was really good. This one isn't quite ripe yet, but I'll probably pick it in another day or so. Now we're getting on to a really, really sad part of the garden. Yeah, these are all my tomatoes that I had in the containers. They are really doing badly. I had to rip out some of them. Some of them I'm going to rip out very shortly, but these are sad. I do have one plant that's still producing tomatoes, and that's Tennessee Britches. Unfortunately, that tomato tastes horrible, so oh well. Here is one of my successes. This is the Rapicante squash, and you can see that it's at the top of its 6-foot tower. And let's go closer to it, and you can see that it has migrated over to this tomato cage. And if I swing over here, got more here, and it's coming up onto this tomato cage. Fortunately, I had to take out the tomatoes in these cages because they were doing so poorly, but this plant definitely isn't. Let me show you one of the squash. I've already picked a few of them, and you'll see them in the picture I have of all my harvest. But here's this one guy. I'm gonna tilt the camera. He's a big dude. So the ones that I've picked so far have been this size or larger, and I've got a whole bunch more growing. As you can see, it's invading other parts of the garden, so I don't think I'll have any problem getting some fruits off this vine. The squash bugs have been out. The squash bugs have been out in force, but they don't seem to be bothering this plant. It's called Zucchio rapicante, and I did get it from Baker Creek Seeds, and I tell you, this plant is amazing. You can eat the young fruits green, or you can wait until they turn orangish and you can eat them like a winter squash. Now, right next to it, another one of my successes. These are the sweet potato vines, which are taking over. They're going nuts. They're crawling all over into other areas, and they're doing fine. So looks like I will be getting some sweet potatoes. And just over here, let me swing around some. That was one of the branches that we had come down off of our tree, but we got lucky. We had neighbors, several neighbors, that in the storms, they had their entire trees uprooted and coming down and across the road. It was horrendous around here. And this is the beans that are falling over. Now, I did have this squash plant that had done beautifully until these storms, and now I'm gonna have to take it out because you can see the leaves are doing very badly. Looks like I've got some mildew and everything on it. I will show you something that's neat though. Right next door we have my Romanian rainbow, and they have been doing beautifully. So I've got some that are different colors in here. So there are some green ones up here, and then the others are turning colors. So those are finally doing well. So that's it for today. Now, what is the glad part of all this? Because I've shown you the bad and the sad, the glad part is because I had to go ahead and take out so much. There's room for my fall garden now. So I've been busy planting broccoli and cauliflower and onions and all manner of things. And this weekend, weather permitting, we'll start going ahead and doing those carrots that we did for the seeding, for the seed tape and everything, that video, which I'll link somewhere up in this general vicinity. So look for that. And like I said, that's the glad part. I've got spots in my garden now. Anyway, this is Gail, the Gardening Gal, signing out, saying, oh, by the way, if you have not yet subscribed and hit the like button, please do so. It'll help me a lot.